Okay. So for this project, you are not taking any new photos. So you are going to be just using the photos that you've already taken this semester. You could pull pictures that maybe you took over the summer or, in the past, just whatever photos that you have that you took. So no new shooting assignment with this. You're just going to be working on editing to add the text. So here you can see my example. I have a product photo of sunglasses, and this is something that one of my former students, Emma Ray Gerwin, I don't know if you guys know her, she's a senior, she's an AP right now, but I've been using her stuff. Okay, but it's good stuff. So this is a photo she took, and I went ahead and I added text to it to kind of, showcase that, yes, it's about the sunglasses and all of that. And the text that I added, it's not a lot. I'm not, writing an essay. Okay. It's just kind of one word, two word, just something really quick, eye catching. Just look, there's our text. So I added the word sunny and bright because, that kind of makes sense with sunglasses. Okay. You wear sunglasses when it's sunny and when it's bright outside. Okay. So, I wasn't going like super, super deep in like the whatever of sunglasses. It's kind of being a little more literal. But if you look at the text, okay, I didn't just plop the text right on top. Okay, the text is kind of blended in with the stuff in the picture. Okay, so for sunny, okay, you can see the sunny is kind of behind these green stripes, okay, and a little bit behind this kind of half circle. Okay, and then the bright is sitting on top of that pattern, but it's behind these balls of foil. Okay. So you get more of that three-dimensional layered look to it. So that's what we're going for with this. Okay. So I have tons of examples. Some of the examples are from a previous project. Others are ones that I was just making myself the other day. So shoes. Okay. So maybe you did shoes as your product. Okay. So you could easily, with whatever the brand name is of the shoe, incorporate that within. So then you're starting to go into that advertisement realm. So on the left, we have Converse. On the right, we have Jordans. And you can see with both of these, the text is blended within. So the Converse text is behind the shoelaces. It's behind the seaming. It's behind kind of this texture on the bottom of the sole. Okay, with the Jordans, it's behind the laces and it's kind of blending into, some of the little divots that the sneaker has. Okay. It's another version of Converse. Okay, and once again, the text is woven into where the laces are. Okay, so the goal is not to just plaster text on top and be done because that's way too easy. The goal is to have it blend and kind of look like it's one. Okay. When you guys did your plants and flower assignment, that would be a great set of pictures to use for this. So here, this one, very literal flowers. Okay. But the text, you can see it's behind some of the petals. So the O in flowers is behind these two petals. The L is on top of this petal, but then you can see it's slightly behind this other one. So really thinking about how things are in space and how they're being layered. Okay, nature, got green on the left. And once again, all of those, they're woven in, they're blended in. So they're one with the stuff. Okay, Snapseed. Travel. Okay, so you can see the travel, it's behind some of these trees. Okay, nature. Okay, so just really quick kind of one word things. Okay, here's one that I did. So I did reflect. Okay, so I didn't do nature or mountains or snow. I did reflect because of the reflection of, the scene in the water. Okay. And here's a close-up of what that looks like. So you can see the text is behind some of the trees, but then also in front of others. So it's really like it's woven into that space. Okay. So the project, okay, you're gonna find 10 photos that you've already taken to use. So this can be from any project, any subject. So totally up to you, just 10 photos that you took. Okay, then you're gonna add text, 1 to 2 lines. So the very first example I showed you with the sunglasses, I had sunny and bright, so that would be 2 lines. Or the example that I have on the screen here, I have disappear. That's just 1 line. Okay. So the text can just be a word. You really want to have it work with the subject of your photograph. It can be something that's really obvious, like nature or flowers or, the brand. Okay. Or you can have it have a deeper meaning, have it have more context. So in this example that's on your screens, I wrote disappear. Okay. So to kind of, you have that ghost-like image from the fast shutter speed, um, or slow shutter speed. So you have that blur. And so you start to think and wonder, well, disappear, what's happening? So that's where you can start to give a little bit more meaning to your art. Um, so you're going to be using a brush tool in Snapseed to have your text become one with the photo. Okay, so the goal is to have that blending in and out so it becomes one. Okay, so this is not what you're doing. You're not just plopping text on top. Okay, so here we have that reflect that I did. We have the bad on the left where it just plopped right on top. And then the good where I went and I blended and I have, the words kind of weaving in throughout the image itself. Okay, do you guys see the difference between the two? Yes. Give me thumbs up, give me something. Okay. So in the end, you are turning in 10 different photographs that have text blended into them, and each of those will be uploaded to the Google Classroom assignment. So how you actually decide where and what blends in, that's totally up to you. It really also depends on your picture. So this image that's on the screens, this was one that I did, and I was trying to figure out, well, where's a good place to put the text? I tried putting the text up top, but then I couldn't figure out a good way to have it blending without, losing all of the text. So then I started looking at how the shadows are falling on, the leaf on the bottom, and because the shadow is more from my blinds, from my window, it's stripy instead of kind of this big old solid shadow. So I was kind of playing around and changing it and moving it. And then I, decided to put it down here and have the shadows be what my text, blends and weaves into and around. So there's no specific science to this or specific way. It really depends on your picture, what your text is, how big your text is, the color. There's just a lot of variation. So you can totally make this your own. With this example, the text is really small. Okay? It's not in your face like the reflect is. Okay, so it's really up to you as an artist to decide what you want it all to look like. So, any questions so far? No? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna go on my iPad. Okay. So, right. So for this, you are going to be using a Snapseed. Okay, so you should really be picking pictures that you've already edited, you've already, cropped them, did all the things that you wanted to. So you're using pictures that already look good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, tap to add a photo, open from device. And let's see, we'll go in there. We'll use erase because that one's an easy one to work with. Okay, so I have the picture. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the little pencil edit icon that's on the right. Okay, and that has all of our menu options. And on the bottom row, you'll see text. Okay, and this is where you can add your text. So with the text, you have a lot of different options as far as what kind of text you have. Some of them, have like the little bubbles around them or some lines. I suggest going with something that's a little bit more simple where it's just text. So, L1 through L8 can work. And then, we have the two handwritten ones. So really any one where it's just text will be good. Okay. I'm a personal fan of the L2, so that's kind of what I've been using. To add my text, okay, I'm gonna, where it says double tap here to change text, I'm gonna double tap to add text. Okay, and then type in my text, click OK. Okay, so from here, the text just automatically is a certain size. And when I pinch out, I can make the text bigger. When I pinch in, I can make the text smaller. Okay, so we'll kind of pinch out. And then with one finger, you can kind of move it around wherever you want it. Okay, so that's how you can kind of decide your placement of where you want your text to go. Other things you can do when you're in here. So on the bottom, you'll see there's an option for color. So you can change the color of your text. Okay. So once again, this is where you as an artist can decide what you want to do. Okay. So if you wanted to stand out because maybe everything is really dark, you can go with a lighter or brighter color. Totally, totally up to you as far as what you do with that. So we'll make it this kind of yellowy color. Okay. You can also do transparency. So transparency is how solid or not solid it is. So when the opacity is all the way to the right, it's going to be just solid, solid color. But as I slide over, you can see my text gets more transparent, more invisible. Okay. I suggest for this just having the opacity all the way to the right. Otherwise, it could get a little muddled. Okay. Yeah, so that's about it as far as text. When everything looks good, you'll just hit the check mark in the bottom right-hand corner, and that's it. Any questions on that part? Anyone? Okay. So from here, right now I just have text plastered right on top. Okay, this is the bad. This is not what you want. Okay, you really want it to look like it's woven in, to have stuff sitting on top of it, stuff behind it. So in order to do that, in the upper right hand corner, we have these three options. You have the three dots, the eye, and kind of the backwards arrow. So when you click on the backwards arrow, you're going to see your undo and revert, those kind of basic ones. What we need to look at is view edits. Okay, so when you do view edits in the bottom right hand corner, it'll show you pretty much everything you've done to the picture so far. Okay? And all I've done was open it and add text. Okay, and the text one is the edit that we are going to be working with. So I'm just going to click on that. And then once again, you got 3 options, and you're going to click the middle one where there's a brush. Okay. So with this, when you first open it, you'll see that your text is gone. That is okay. Okay. To see your text, you're going to click invert. Okay. So in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the invert. You click that, and then your text will show up. Okay. So what this kind of editing works with is you're working with a brush and you're kind of erasing and adding. So it's kind of this back and forth, back and forth. Okay, so you can see the text, okay, is all there. In the bottom, you have your toolbar. So you have decrease with a downward arrow, 0 text, and then increase up. Okay, so when I click increase up, you'll see the text number goes up. When I click decrease down, that text goes down. So when you start to paint with your finger on the surface and your text is at 0, you'll see that the text is going to disappear. Okay, so I'm just going in and painting over the foil, okay, making that text disappear. Okay, when I go to increase with my text as 100 and I paint in those same areas, you can see that the text comes back. Okay, so decrease gets rid of the text, increase brings it back. Okay, so my suggestion is to first, decrease the text in the areas where you don't want to see it. So in this case, the areas where that foil is. If you're doing it with a picture of shoes and you want it behind the laces, decrease the text where the laces are. Are you guys with me so far? Okay. It's hard because all I see is one face. If she sees it and gets it, then I'm going to assume everyone else does. All right. So from here, once I've decreased the text, I'm going to zoom in even more. Okay, because the more I'm zoomed in, kind of the smaller my brush is, so then I can do a lot more detail work. So I'm going to go and increase my text. I'm going to start to paint around the areas where that foil is. Okay. So it doesn't look like it's doing much, but my text in the areas where it kind of faded out. So in the R, in that, down that first line of the R, when I paint, you can start to see it come back, and I'm just painting with my finger. And you can do this with the stylus. If you got a stylus, you can do it with that. Okay, just painting right along those edges. Okay, so you can see when I zoom out, it's all nicely blended, and it looks like the text is sitting directly behind that foil. I'm just gonna go paint, paint, paint. Okay, and if I accidentally go too far, I can always just decrease my text and paint that away. And then increase my text and then kind of fine tune it. Okay, so this isn't anything super crazy complicated, which is nice. It's kind of a nice way to get a really cool effect with the text. Okay, so depending on, what you're doing, it could take you just a little bit of time to do it, or in the case of, the reflect one I did where I had all the trees going through it, that took me some time just because there were a lot of trees and I was trying to figure out which would work being in front, which would work being in back, and so on and so forth. So there we go. So now my text is behind the foil. Okay. So if I wanted to maybe have text go behind, some of the stripes, I could do that too. Okay. So it's really up to you as an artist to decide what your text is doing, how it's working with the stuff that's in your pictures. And there's no right or wrong way. The only wrong way is to just plop it on top. But beyond that, it's totally, totally up to you. Okay. So when you're happy with what you've got, you'll click the check mark in the bottom right-hand corner. And then you'll click the arrow in the upper left corner, and then you will save it. And you want to save as a copy. Okay, you want to save as a copy so that way it doesn't override your original picture. Okay, so this way you still have your original, and then you have the version with the text. Okay. Questions